Welcome to That's Good Avalanche.
Whoa.
Avalanche? All right, fuckwads, you asked for an Avalanche video and you're getting it. And we are joined by the best in the biz, Nathan Rudolph from DNVR, to talk about the Avalanche and their triumphant path to the Stanley Cup. Thank you for joining us, Nathan.
Yeah, most people call me Rudo, but
that's true. That's true. Actually, I thought your name was Rudo for a long time until I learned it was Nathan. But
I should get it legally changed. I really should.
You should. You should.
That hard.
Rudo joined us on our charity golf event for the Alzheimer's Association last year. So that's where I met you. And first question I have, how excited are you right now?
Oh, when they actually clinched the finals berth, there's a video of me and AJ, if you know him, who we literally just hugged it out when it happened. Like, it's every day I still wake up and it's kind of like, the Avs are still in the Cup final, right? It's we got to make sure I didn't dream that. So honestly, there was a legitimate part of me who thought that the Avs would never make it back here again in my life. So it's amazing.
Wow. Yeah, like it's hard to explain the feeling of when your team's going to the championship, and then there's this like the week, like for you guys, like there's 10 days right now until the Stanley Cup starts. But like after the championship game in football, you basically have 2 weeks until the Super Bowl. So you're in this weird phase where you're excited, you're optimistic, nothing can go wrong. You're questioning whether or not it's real.
But you also feel guilty for feeling good about it already. Yeah.
I made that mistake before the Seahawks Super Bowl. I even did like a music video, very cocky and arrogant, about how the Broncos were going to win that game. And then, of course, they get just annihilated in Super Bowl 48. But where I wanted to start before I show everybody my hockey acumen, right now, the Rangers and the Lightning are tied up. Is there a team you would prefer to see the Avs play, or a team that you think is a better matchup for them?
I think the Rangers are the better matchup. I think the Avs have I'd be pretty confident in them against that team. I'll put it that way. But I would prefer Tampa because they're going for the three-peat. This would be 3 cups in a row for them.
Oh, shit.
Take it from the Kings. Crown yourself.
Wow.
Gotta be the best to be the best.
Exactly.
Yes.
I like that mindset.
I guess I didn't realize they were going for 3 in a row. That's crazy.
It would be the first time since the 80s that any team had actually pulled that off if they do it. So
okay.
Got to stop that. Can't let that happen.
What was the last sports team in general to win 3 in a row? I think it might have been the Lakers back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It's been a really long time since anyone's done it.
Done a three-peat. Which goalie is better?
Tampa's goalie Vasilevsky he's the best goalie in the world. He's actually insane. He could stop anything, like a little BB. He'd stop it.
Maybe they should try that.
Yeah, I'll take the Rangers instead. I do not even want to think about letting a team get a 3rd in a row.
Just avoid it entirely.
Yeah, yeah.
When was the last Rangers win? I'm not a hockey guy, but was it 1994?
Yeah, it was that's their only one in the modern era anyway.
I got you beat, Brandon.
Wow.
We have one fact on the board. Put it up.
I knew one thing.
Fuck. I was going to ask you something, and now I just got out-fact by Will. Oh, who for the Avs goalie? Who do you think they should start game 1?
Darcy Kemper.
Back to Kemper?
Yeah, he's your starter. You brought him in this year to be this guy in this situation.
Right.
Francouz got you through the 3rd round, but especially that last game, he played well enough, but not to a level where you're like,
Right.
yeah, we want to run this guy in the cup final.
Would you have a different opinion on that if he like shut out in that last final game?
Absolutely. Even if he gave up like 1 or 2 goals, you'd
Right.
say, all right, the dude's playing well. You can ride the hot hand a little bit, but in this case, I think playing Francouz would be like taking a Perna shot at a golf tournament. So
damn it, that would not be good. That would not be good. I actually got to play again on Monday, and that'll be the first time I've played since I played with you. So,
I go to Top Golf instead. All right, it's a lot easier from Top Golf.
Way easier. Dude, here's something. Now, this is just something this is my observation. And because obviously when the Avalanche had Patrick Waugh, you just had this confidence in your goalkeeper. Sure. And Kemper, he's good, right, people? He's a good goalie. Not the best. Good. What was he, 5th in save percentage this season?
Yeah, some.
Yes, there's my facts, suckers. There's my facts.
1-1. Next one wins.
Start naming players.
Do you think it's kind of hard to be goalie for the Avalanche based on the amount of time their offense is in the zone? Like, it seems to me like they spend so much time just taking shots on the opponent that if I were goalie, I would get fucking bored back there and maybe get off my rhythm a little bit.
Yeah, so there's actually a really interesting debate about this in the hockey community because, on the one hand, there are goalies who like to be involved in the play more, facing a lot of shots, and that gets them going. On the other hand, when you only face 17 shots a night, you don't have to make nearly as many saves.
Right.
So, but for sure, if you're an Avalanche goaltender right now, you do have to find ways to keep yourself involved in the game and focused on not. There's a couple of famous scenes of goalies during long stretches where they'll like jump up on the net and just sit on the net and like a kid waiting, like just sit down in the outfield. Basically, that's what it's like. So that's
really funny.
Yeah, it's a weird conundrum to be in,
right?
But look. These are professional athletes; they can keep themselves focused. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I guess I don't mean it so much from a focus perspective as much as like just being in
staying
that sort
warm.
Of zone of like after a little while, a breakaway happens or the other team starts firing off a few shots and you're just not with it 100%. But like, I guess the other thing I've noticed through the playoffs is I don't care how many, like if the Avs are in a deficit, like it doesn't matter what's happening through the course of the game. I'm just confident they're going to make up for it at some point. And it's one of those things when I first started watching in the playoffs, again, just the playoffs, because fucking Comcast and Altitude or whatever, I don't catch random games. It seemed like, oh shit, this is a little lucky streak. They scored 3 goals in like 2 minutes. But it's like happens every single game. Has that been like all season long?
They've done that with a surprising amount of regularity on the season, and they actually it's the most comeback victories this year that they've had in like a decade because they can do that. They just drop a bunch of goals on teams' heads. It does feel like they get one and the floodgates open this year. So I people are gonna roast me for this, but I think the skaters, not including the goaltender, this year might be the most talented lineup the Avs have ever had, including like previous cup championships.
I'll agree with that.
So this team is kind of like the 2019 Kansas City Chiefs of hockey.
Yeah.
They always go down and then just score a bunch and come back.
Yep. They can just score their way out of any problem they might have.
Is Kadri going to be able to come back or?
So it's a solid maybe on that one. I got the Nas shirt, so we're sending good vibes his way. He had surgery on his thumb. The normal recovery time would put him outside the window to come back for the Cup Finals, but these are NHL players. They play on broken bones and all sorts of nonsense all the time. Everything that I've heard sounds like he's going to try and come back for the Cup Finals, How much of it will he be back for? How effective will he be? We'll see. But I would expect him to get into at least a game or two. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of noticed a difference without him in there.
Yeah, for sure.
They made a big deal about the hit he took, like because his face smashed into the wall, right? But he hurt his thumb, so that doesn't make sense to me.
That's sometimes weird things happen. That play in particular, the play that Kadri took, considered the most dangerous play in hockey because that's how you like end dudes' careers. But yeah, it being a thumb, math doesn't add up there.
Did he get a concussion on that play too?
I don't think so. It's just the thumb. Yeah.
Was he like trying to brace himself with just his thumb?
Well,
no.
So it's not even. It wasn't even like the thumb of his hand that went into the boards. It was like his other thumb.
Damn.
So like I don't know if he like caught it on the ice and bent it backwards or something, but it really like the injury was, if you had to pick the least sense of an injury out of that play, it would probably be that.
You know when like players get injured and they give a thumbs up to the crowd? Maybe he was just trying to do that really quickly and
sprained it. Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Just thought, look, we're all doctors here, right? Simple math.
100%.
A doctor of sports.
You know what else? You can do some simple math. DraftKings Sportsbook. And it's time to crown this season's basketball champion. I guess hockey, too. We'll say hockey as well. But DraftKings Sportsbook is putting all new customers in the center of the action. I'll say center ice to tool it for our hockey episode. Because new customers can bet just $5 on any team in the basketball playoffs and get $150 in free bets instantly. DraftKings Sports customers can also bet on the NBA with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add or the more skates you add, did it again, the more money you can win. And if DraftKings is not available in your state because your state is behind the times, DraftKings hosts huge daily fantasy contests every day of the playoffs with millions up for grabs each week. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code DNVR when you sign up at DraftKings. That is DNVR to take advantage of DraftKings and their special offers for you. And you just got to use that code like I tell you every podcast because that's how I make a living. So please just do that. Got to be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Have you ever heard of DraftKings ad read before?
Once or twice in my life, maybe. Look, what I tell them is you take your $5 to the kiddie table at the NBA Finals, all right? And they'll give you $150 to go bet on a real sport like hockey.
There you go.
Okay, so out of the four major sports, it feels like hockey players and basketball players have the most animosity towards each other.
I think it might be football players and football players that have the most animosity toward each other.
Okay, that's fair. Maybe the fans, but I don't know why those two sports. Is it just like the schedules are kind of aligned?
Yeah, honestly, most of the hockey players I know actually love basketball. They love the sport. They love watching it, but it's just hard to be into both because their schedules are basically right on top of each other. So
yeah,
you can't cover both.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't know. I think the hockey playoffs are on the verge of overtaking the NBA playoffs in terms of. I mean, they beat them in watchability. I think ratings are coming next. That's my take.
The NBA playoffs have always struggled with parity, right? Like you get into the NBA playoffs and you're like, all right, so these two teams are going to be in the finals. Got it.
Yeah.
Great. Moving. We'll catch you in the finals. See you later.
No, that's really true.
There's 3 7-game series to figure out what we already knew.
Yeah. So hockey, I think, has the best playoffs in the world, if you're asking me. I might be a little bit of biased source on that one, but
maybe.
You never know. You never know what you're going to get with hockey. No one had the Rangers picked to make the
Right.
Cup Finals, and now they're not far. So
Yeah, no, I mean, no one can predict it. It's like when the San Jose Sharks went up 3-0 and then blew that in the next. That's a fact.
Oh,
can you even tell me which team they blew it to?
Was it the LA Kings?
It was.
wow, look at us.
God,
Point to Will.
there we go. I'm leading. Come on, Brandon.
Brandon racking his brain right now for any hockey facts he might know.
Oh God, Gretzky.
Injury.
No.
Peter Forsberg.
All right, can you
Abs
tell
won
me
anyway.
which football player I know that grew up playing hockey?
Ooh. Huh.
Wait, say that again. Which football
player grew up playing hockey that I know? There's probably more than the one that I know. But
Okay,
there's probably only one. That's a great question. Can we get a hint?
he was playing for the Texans when I learned about this.
Oh,
I'm gonna say JJ Watt.
That is correct.
damn it! I was gonna say Philip Lindsay.
He looks like a hockey player.
Yeah, JJ Watt looks like a. Could you imagine JJ Watt on the ice?
Running
Wait,
dudes.
but I guess hockey players are bigger than we think they are. But
They
Watt,
are, especially defensemen.
Yeah, Watt's a monster though.
Yeah, if that dude ran into you like at hockey skating speed, you're not getting up.
He'd die right there.
Yeah, I'm surprised that hockey players live at all. Like, first of all, when the hits happen, I don't really know the difference between a legal hit and an illegal hit in hockey.
Okay, neither does a league.
Yeah, okay, but so many of them look fucking brutal, and then the guys just bounce up and skate away. I'm like, how? How's it not so fast?
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, the bodies hitting bodies part is brutal enough, but then you remember that they're falling onto ice.
Yeah.
It's not grass. No, that's a really hard surface that they have to get up off of. And like, look, they have pretty decent pads. It does help, but compared to like basketball, look, they hit the hardwood floors. It doesn't feel good, but just the speed involved in hockey.
But they're not supposed to hit anything.
Right. With hockey, it's just expected that you have to do that.
How often do ACL injuries happen in hockey?
Fairly common.
Is it?
It's not like to the level of football where it's happening all the time to guys, but they do happen. It's sometimes you put a skate the wrong way at too much speed and
that makes sense.
Snap. But it tends to be a lot more like, obviously, with same thing as football, concussions are the biggest injury,
right?
That players deal with. But other than that, it's a lot of ankles as well.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, there's just so many things you have to be good at athletically to do hockey. It's crazy. Let me try to get a good Avalanche question here.
I've got one. I got a good question.
Okay, Will, I'll keep thinking of mine.
Call my shot and say this is a good question ahead of time, so you can compliment me later. Mm-hmm. The 2007 Colorado Rockies, they were red hot and swept their way through the playoffs. The Avalanche, they're a better team than those Rockies were, but they're really red hot. They both swept their conference opponent in the finals, the conference finals or league finals. But that means they have a long layoff. Are you worried about the layoff and whether they might cool down? Or maybe is cooling down good in hockey because you're on ice?
So cooling down is not good. There is, of course, the rest versus rust debate in hockey. I'm not worried, though, one, because you have a 7-game series. Rust is only an excuse for game 1. After that, you're not cooled down anymore. 2, the Avs are banged up like every playoff team. A little bit of time off helps Nas get a little bit healthy. They have a number of other players. Andrei Burakovsky is allegedly playing on a broken foot right now.
Oh, is that what he has?
Yeah.
Damn.
Just a normal thing to be able to skate on a broken foot, par for the course. But look, I was a baseball fan before I was a hockey fan. that Colorado Rockies team wasn't good.
Yeah, that's the big difference, I think.
They would be like if the Avs were getting all-star goaltending out of like a junior level player. It was how I would equate that Rockies team. Their pitching in the playoffs just didn't make any sense.
Would the Avalanche be the best team ever right now if they had Patrick Waugh in at goalie?
I think they'd be up there. I don't know. It's really hard to say the best team ever. The 80s had the Wayne Gretzky Oilers were just absolutely absurd. But
oh yeah, I've got some takes on Wayne Gretzky.
After that TNT series, I'm sure.
Dude, and it wasn't even like this because I was tweeting about him this last game, but I forget. It was the first Avs game I watched where they had him on TNT, and I was like, "Oh my god, he offers nothing as an analyst." And I was genuinely surprised because I was like, "Oh, Wayne Gretzky, this is going to be cool." And then I was like, "Oh man, he's not good at TV."
So it's one of those situations where he's the best player ever. So like a play happens, and he's like. Yeah. What do you mean? You just make the play. Like there's no analysis. Just do it.
Yeah, that was kind of my takeaway from it. Was like a guy that level. Sometimes it's hard to communicate what you just know, like based on instinct. You know what I mean?
This is what Tom Brady's going to be like in the booth. By the way, he's going to suck.
Yeah,
right there. I believe this take.
I would just go ask Josh McDaniels what to do in that situation.
Yeah. So, can I call Bill Belichick?
I would just figure a way to cheat. I'd figure out a way to cheat.
That ball's looking pretty inflated. I don't know.
Well, I would just throw it 3 yards to Gronk and watch him score. Yeah,
at least we got some run that play.
Yeah, run the Gronk play. Run it to Randy Moss.
Hockey needs one of those controversies. They need like heated pucks.
They do. They need like an
hockey controversy
kind of thing.
There we go. Now we're talking.
How would you cheat in hockey though? Like, what's the most efficient way to cheat?
So this isn't in the modern era. It's not as much, but all through the 80s and 90s, everyone used sticks with illegal curves. The curve was too much. Allegedly gave you too much control of the puck or too much shooting ability. And so they actually had it down to this science where for the first 2 periods, they would use the illegal sticks because it wasn't worth like calling them on it. And in the third period, everyone would change to their legal sticks. So they didn't give up like an important power play late in the game. So cheating runs deep in hockey sometimes.
Yeah. Would that be like one of those things where just allowing more curve to the sticks, would that increase scoring?
It probably would. It's less effective these days because they have the carbon fiber everyone's got all the technology. Back then it was literally just a curved wooden stick. Mm-hmm. So it mattered a little bit more.
That makes sense.
Yeah, if they wanted to increase scoring, just have the goaltenders wear smaller pads.
Yeah. What is there something that worries you about heading into the Stanley Cup about the Avs? If there's like one thing you're like, this might cost them the series. What do you think it is?
Ultimately, I think their lack of experience is the one big knock against Tampa. And look, this team is great. Obviously, they've made it through the conference finals. They know what they're doing, but this will be, again, Tampa going for the three-peat if they make it. Against the Rangers, it probably is goaltending. Okay. Igor Shesterkin, very good. Not Vasilevsky, but still very, very good. Kemper is absolutely capable of winning a Stanley Cup Finals, but we've seen this year, are you going to get the good version of that guy or the just okay version of that guy?
Right. And how much of like the way he plays kind of depends on how on it the Avs are defensively?
The Avs defensively definitely helps him. At full health, I would argue the Avs are the best defensive team in the league. They're missing Sam Girard right now, so it's up for debate. But the way the Avs play, if they're playing well, will help him out. But at the end of the day, you pay a goaltender to bail you out when your defense makes mistakes. Right. Your defense never plays a perfect game. So he's got to come up with multiple big saves on any given night.
Is Nathan MacKinnon the fastest man in hockey?
Cale Makar might actually be able to keep up with him. It's a close one there. So,
wow. Yeah, I think again, learning. I'm like, oh shit, McKinnon can use speed pretty incredibly sometimes.
It's to be able to use that much speed in his frame, because he's probably like about 215 now, which fairly big for a forward in hockey. So he gets going that fast and he puts his head down and you're like, oh no, I'm not standing in front of that.
Who's the most underrated player you think on the team?
On the Avs?
Yeah.
Boy, these playoffs so far, it's probably been JT Compher. He's been extremely clutch for them. It's been a guy that the fan base likes to hate on quite regularly over his tenure here in Colorado. And look, he's got 5 goals in the playoffs. He's scored some game-winning goals. He's come in extremely clutch for this hockey team. And it's really easy to write that dude off until he does the big thing for you. So.
Perfect. That's what I would have said too.
That's
I believe you. Well. Yeah. Yeah. Can you name like 3 other players on the Avs?
Me?
Either of you.
Landeskog.
Good.
Landeskog.
Don't know his first name.
You don't need to.
Francouz. Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon.
What are you looking at?
Kadri. Looking at nothing. I've been watching.
This might be a point to Brandon here. I don't know.
Abu Dhabi. Abu Jafar.
Abe Kubel.
Abe Kubel. Hold on. Let me keep going. Abe Kubel. Compher. Rantanen.
You've got all the big names now.
And oh shit. There's one guy who's got a really tough last name.
If you say so.
Shit.
They're all tough last names for Brandon.
And my favorite Avalanche player, Evander Kane.
You're going to get some hate for that one, I think.
Yeah, I think that's all I can do.
Honestly, that's pretty well done. You got all the big names. You got all the important players.
Yeah.
Tied it up. It's 2-2 right now.
Who am I missing? And I'll tell you if I actually knew them or not.
All right. Arturi Lehkonen.
Yeah, I knew that.
Who scored the goal to send the Avs to the Cup Finals, so you should know that one.
Yeah, and they picked him up from who? Where?
Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal. Because he do that. He sent the Montreal to the finals? Who did he send to the finals?
2 years in a row, he scored that goal.
So, boom. Wow. Just topped you, Will. Next.
The hard name, Valery Nichushkin.
That's the guy, Nichushkin. Like, I knew even if I remembered his name, I was not going to get close.
Just call him Choo Choo. It's fine.
Okay, I can do that.
Choo-choo train.
Down the list, Alex Newhook, Darren Helm, Andrew Cogliano.
Yeah, Helm's Deep. I forgot Helm's Deep.
There you go. The handful of other guys have rotated into the lineup on the front side. The back end, Devon Taves is the only name that you should really know. Yeah. Josh Manson, Eric Johnson, which
Eric Johnson, Jack Johnson, isn't Jack Johnson?
Yes, they have the Johnson and Johnson pairing. No more tears. Okay.
Wow. There we go. Okay. I'm picking it up. That's the thing about sports. Like, I only feel comfortable talking about football because I know it so well. But like, you just spend a small amount of time watching it. I feel like in a couple months you can talk pretty educatedly about it, and nailed it. But hockey, the one thing I think the hardest thing to figure out, besides all of the long ass names, is like in terms of rules. To me, like hockey, it's sometimes it's hard to see what happens. And then,
all right, you need glasses. I get it.
Learning, well, sometimes I'm watching on my phone when I'm putting my kid down. I'm like, this is pointless. Like, I can't see the puck at all. But I feel like there's a bigger learning curve for hockey in terms of the rules than like if you're watching the NBA or something.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot more specifics going on there with oh, this penalty, that penalty, the other thing. With the NBA, someone takes a penalty. There's only two options, right? It's either on the floor and it goes out, or it's on a shot and they get 2 free throws.
Right.
There are technicals too, but those are a little bit more specific. With hockey, there's like 15 penalties that could result in a power play. So
right,
you do have to learn a little bit more there. There's a lot of other whistles, things like offside, that you have to deal with. But the one thing that I've actually found interesting with hockey is I grew up before HD television, right? So without HD television, watching hockey as a kid, you had to learn to understand what's coming next. You have to know what's happening next, because you can't see the puck. You just have to know the puck's going to go over there next. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you'll be behind the play. So there is certainly a level of just the pace that hockey gets played at, where if you're not one step ahead of the game, it's really hard to know what's going on.
Yeah. It's also, I think replay is more important in hockey than any other sport, because you need it to see what just happened.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like NFL, like a touchdown happens, you're like, oh yeah. Hockey, like, who the fuck scored there? Where did it happen? Then you're like, you see it in slow mo, and then you're like, I've just been sometimes just like my mind blown on how shots get into goal. You're like, oh my god, like guys just deflecting it in. Like to me, that's crazy.
Yeah. The hand-eye coordination there is ridiculous, but then also you'll have ones where it like hits 3 people on the way in, and you're just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. I know this is like wildly insulting, but sometimes it feels like hockey is just a series of accidents.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is. It is the most random sport of the Big Four by like a large margin. It's not close. So.
No, I think that's a fair observation, because I think another thing I assumed is like hockey players are so good, they always have control over the puck and where it's going. And a lot of times I feel like goals are happening guys are just getting the puck under control and then flipping it that's like the last thing they can do, and it goes in. Yeah. I'm like, oh, sometimes like in the amount of passes that don't actually stick or whatever, I'm like, okay, there is luck to it. There's more skill than luck, but sometimes like the way the puck bounces or whatever.
Again, it all happens so fast, right? You go watch the best hockey highlights ever, and it's like, wow, that guy controlled the puck for 5 whole seconds. So that's amazing. It's incredible that he actually managed to do that. So there's a lot of randomness in hockey for sure.
All right. Well, I'll let you out of here. I said 20. You gave us 30. You got a prediction of who the Avs will play, and then when they play them, how many games it will take before the Avalanche become champions?
I think it'll be Tampa. I think they will get it done against the Rangers. It's a Cup Finals. You got to pick it in 7.
I say Avs in 6. Official prediction.
6.5. Right down the middle.
Boom.
Perfect. Just end the game 3 or game 7 at halfway point. Call it good.
Yeah.
Will just predicted another pandemic that will stop
mid-game.
Rudy Gobert will be involved. I hope this doesn't happen.
No. Nathan, where can people follow you?
Yeah, you can follow me at Nathan_Rudolph, the worst Twitter handle imaginable. I do all my work for the DNVR, so I'm sure most of y'all know all about that are listening to this, but appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming, and hopefully I can get down to the bar for one of those games and come hang out with you guys.
It's an awesome place to get your playoff game, man. They go crazy down there.
Yeah, no, it looks like it's been a ton of fun. So thank you for joining us. Thanks for listening to the That's Good Avalanche podcast, officially the #1 hockey podcast now. And our streak at #1 has come to an end.
We did it.